sparkling day. Yes, sir. Sparkling. Well, shit the bed. How are y'all? Zachariah Shake and Bake here. You know what? Before I did my chores today, I got up, I had some mouthwash. I looked in the mirror and I said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the scariest bogeyman of all? And you know what? I got a friend who's gonna find out for us. So let's go. Have a drink for the old Kilt-Man. And let's get ourselves all spooky. You hear that? That is the duck-billed platypus. And that's gonna be on my plate later. I gotta wash down the whiskey somehow, ain't I?
Thank you, Zachariah. Thank you. That's a great suggestion for the video. I think I'll run with it. Now, if you'd be so kind to just take yourself over yonder and just trim down those triffids, you know, at the shadowy end of the Black Lagoon, you know, over in the top meadow, where we distill the old hoochie min. Oh, hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. And as you just heard my very eloquent groundsman there, Zachariah Shake and Bake, what a great idea. Who is, or what is, the scariest bogeyman in the movies? Well, the list is really endless, isn't it? How many candidates do we have? I mean, you've got your aliens, your creatures, your monsters, your mutants, your ghouls, your vampires, your werewolves, your slashers, your maniacs, your axemen, your ghosts, spectres and zombies. Oh! Well, we'd have to set some kind of guidelines here, wouldn't we? Some kind of parameters. So, and it's all subjective. So, I mean, what I say is scariest, or what Zach says is scariest, may be complete pussy to somebody out there. So, I don't know. But it's all fun, isn't it? So I've amassed an array of bogeymen, you know? And in this day and age, you can have bogey women too. You can have bogey non-binary creatures and things, and transgender. In fact, that's been quite a feature of, you know, the genre as well. Transgender monsters and killers. Yeah. And in fact, one of them on our top list is going to be a sort of transvestite. Yes. In fact, two of them are. Two of them. So anyway, I've kind of divided this up. So you've got the vintage years, haven't you? You've got the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And then you kind of get what would be termed as the modern age. Now the modern age is becoming quite a lengthy period of time, because modern horror is always sort of cited as being commencing in the 60s. Then it gets sort of gains its teeth and its vigour in the 70s. It gains stretcho heads and prosthetics and animatronics in the 80s, and the CG comes in the 90s, and then we break the fourth wall and we become very, you know, metaphysical and very sort of self-referential ad infinitum. So we've got to limit this down somehow. And I think I'm not really going to be straying too far beyond what you guys are probably already amassing in your ranks of leading bogeymen / women. So let's commence now. Now, if you're going into the vintage era, which we are, then you've got to go with the original universal classic monsters, haven't you? Because they are the original creatures of nightmare, the bogeymen. They're what created the horror genre in the first place. They're what put the H in horror, H certificate, H for horror, and got a lot of these movies banned way back in the day, and got horror movies put on the back burner, kind of forgotten about whilst World Wars took place. Because there was too much real life horror going on. We didn't need to be reminded of it in cinemas now, did we? And then, of course, it would come back with full-blooded gusto in the 40s and 50s and 60s. Universal again, and then obviously Hammer, and then the Independents, and now there's just no stopping the cavalcade of carnage. The mass of monsters. on the march. So, anyway, back in the day, you would have Dracula, you would have Frankenstein's monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, you would have the Wolfman, obviously, my favourite, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, who else have you got there? The Phantom of the Opera, and the Mummy. There's pretty much, that's your conglomerate of nasties. But barring the likes of Dracula himself, they're all sympathetic monsters. And therein lies the big difference, folks. Do you see what I mean? Most of those monsters there, barring Dracula, are misguided, misunderstood. They don't want the affliction that they have. They don't want to hurt anybody. Larry Tolbert as the Wolfman, he's there somewhere. You can just about see his hairy chinny chin. He didn't want to be a monster. He was doing the right thing and then got bitten. And then he's turning at the light of a full moon into a ravenous beast. Gonna go and slay the woman he loves. What? He doesn't want to do that. He's not happy. Please, kill me, kill me, kill me. You see, Frankenstein's monster, a patchwork of cadavers rifled from graves and like stitched together. And he's not a bad guy. You know, he might have bodies from the gibbet, you know, and criminals' bodies, but and a bit of a slightly damaged brain. But he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He wants to throw little daisies in the river. He doesn't want to chuck the little girl in and kill her. He just wants to see if she can float. He's not a bad guy. And yet he goes on to become one of the most famous, if not the most iconic of screen monsters. And yet he's not the bad guy. In so many movies, he is the one who's persecuted. Villagers go after him. He wants to learn. He wants a friend, a mate. Don't we all? So he's not the bastard that we think he is. So, you know, is he really a bogeyman? The thing of nightmares? Back in the 30s and 40s, certainly. Yeah, because he represented the other, the outcast who would rise up, the peasants who might see a way to take down governments, to form a revolution, albeit on a smaller scale. But they were the seeds in people's minds. So yeah, he was a bogeyman, justifiably as a kind of cultural sort of thing, but not as a monster himself. No. Didn't want to hurt anybody. Who else have we got? Bride of Frankenstein. Well, of course, once again, no. Doesn't want to hurt anyone. She's horrified at what she's become. She's horrified at Frankenstein's monster. Her groom. What? No, she doesn't want this. She's not a bogey woman. Doesn't want to be there. She's not happy. Look at her hair. It's a right mess. No woman in her right mind when it looks like that. Which is why I like women who are not in the right mind. Cheers. The Mummy. Once again, the Mummy has pledged his life to a princess, to a love. He's sworn himself to somebody. And because of this, he's been incarcerated in a sarcophagus. You try saying that with a few whiskies. Incarcerated in a sarcophagus. And then the scroll of life, of Thoth, awakens him to do someone else's bidding. So that the human is the monster who makes him, the mummy, start doing all the killings. Doesn't want him. And that's always been the way it's been portrayed. He has just been the tool used to get the job done. What they would say in the Jason Bourne world, he's the asset. You know? But again, he's not a real bogeyman. I'll be honest, I do find the concept of a lumbering, bandaged brute who will stop at nothing. He's just a bandaged Terminator. He absolutely will not stop until you are dead, because that's his mission. But he hasn't chosen it. He doesn't want to do it. It's just he's got to do it. So, but really, he's in love with the reincarnation of his former, the thing he pledged his heart to for all of eternity, scarab beetles included. So yeah, although he's a scary concept, smashing through French windows and stuff like that, he's not really a monster. He's a man who's cursed. Like the Wolfman, he cannot help what happens and doesn't want to do it. So, who else have we got? Creature from the Black Lagoon. Again, now he is just an animal, a fish man, a gill man, acting on instinct. He is just doing what his primordial DNA commands him to do. He encounters Julia Adams floating in the Black Lagoon, thinks, "Ooh, hey, not seen the likes of that before." Or he likes a bit of that, or he does. Although he doesn't know why. And starts swimming underneath her, emulating her movements. And then, of course, he wants her, so any man that gets in the way, his big webbed hands will come in and crush their skulls and do all sorts. But he is just an animal defending his own home turf, as you would, as any animal does. So, is he a bogeyman? Is he the stuff of nightmares? If you don't go encroaching on his territory, deep in the heart of the Amazon, then you're going to encounter no trouble with him at all. Obviously, if scientific dickheads then go and snare him and bring him back in captivity and then mutate him to try and make him look like a human, he's going to get angry. You know, you don't do these things to people. You know, you're creating a monster again where no monster really was. It was just a creature. See, I said this was going to be fun. There's one I've missed out here because I couldn't see him. Oh yeah, the Invisible Man. Not really sure about that one because the Invisible Man, alongside Dracula, are possibly the only two from the classic vintage, you know, the real mainstream titans of terror. Is the Invisible Man a bogeyman as well? Well, he does go absolutely criminally insane. Claude Rains, insane. And he does commit murders, and he is rather nasty, and he's having a lot of fun doing it. But again, there was science involved. There was an altruistic sort of, well, an egocentric sort of design to what he was doing. He didn't know what the side effects of becoming invisible. He didn't know it was going to do that to him as well. But, you know, there's an argument to be made that he is a genuine bogeyman because basically you can't see him coming. You know where he is. He could be behind you right now. He could be behind me right now. Woo! Later, Claude, later. When Zach's not watching through the window. And so yeah, you could make an argument for him being a very effective bogeyman. I'll be honest that I don't find him frightening myself. The films around the Invisible Man are usually capers, they're escapades. The first one is a classic, without a doubt, and it is a horror movie. But I find him more manically gleeful and malevolently fun than frightening, if I'm honest. And every subsequent Invisible Man movie that tries to be a horror movie, like the recent Invisible Man and Paul Verhoeven's Hollow Man, which was gory as hell, but completely unfrightening, and that new Invisible Man is just utter trash. I couldn't stand it. Boring! So, you know, for me personally, the Invisible Man kind of drops down a level or two from the proper bogeyman status. Now Dracula, see, now this is the thing, Dracula is a bastard. He is. He's undead and he's having quite a giddy old time of it. Neck chomping, trying to buy up properties in well-to-do places, trying to move in higher elite circles just so he can get a more select vintage of blood. You know, he's a bastard. Of course he is. And he takes great delight in it too. He will taunt the vampire hunters. He will taunt Van Helsing or anyone coming after him. He will make their loved ones into his devotees, his disciples. He will turn them. Yeah, there's no two ways about it, mate. Dracula is an absolute grade A twat. He is. So out of the initial run, I've missed one out. Phantom of the Opera, again. He's here somewhere. He's down the end there. Egocentric, yeah. He will murder to look after Christina, or whoever his musical muse will be, his trainee diva. He will fight and kill to defend her, but he is an aggrieved artist in the first place. You know, so is he really the satanic monster that, you know, we like to? He's the Phantom of the Opera, but he's a tragic figure again, as are all the others except for perhaps the Invisible Man to a degree, although it's a scientific cock-up, not really of his making. Well, it's his fault, but you know, he didn't expect any of that. But Dracula definitely is the main mover and shaker when it comes to terror. He wants to hurt people. He enjoys it, for God's sake. He has to kill people to live, but he has a clear relish and glee in doing so. Ergo, from our vintage years, Dracula is the ultimate bogeyman. For me, I love the Wolfman. I find him terrifying, but that vintage incarnation of the Wolfman is a reluctant monster. Doesn't want to do it. So that immediately takes the whole thing out of the equation. For me. So then we move on. And boy do we move on. So you head up through the decades. All of those characters will be repeated again. And that's another bit of criteria for this. You can't really have a one-off monster, one movie. It's to be a successful bogeyman. It's got to be the thing of nightmares. He's got to have gone on with sequels, an extended mythos around him, remakes, prequels, all that sort of thing. This is what brings that legend and that status, really cementing him in our psyche as a demonic entity worth shivering and shaking over. Now, those original ones are without doubt, they set the template because they are monsters, and the very fact that they're sympathetic also help them resonate with people throughout the next ensuing generations, which is why we keep on remaking these gothic classics and putting new spins on them. And even Dracula, in recent years and attempts to tell that story, they've made him more humanistic, they've made him more tragic, they've made him more sympathetic. You see? That's weird, because there's an irony for you. He was the most bastardized, he was the most evil of the original slew of monsters. And yet now, in today's society, we try to give him human traits and try to understand his psychology and sympathize with him, making him, in more recent incarnations, the most sympathetic, bizarrely, out of all the new guys. And the new guys on the block, the new titans of terror, and we've got quite a few. What you'll find the big difference is that these are all nasty motherfuckers. These guys on our top echelon of evil, these guys know no bounds. Whether they're purely psychotic, they're deformed but evil anyway, they're cannibalistic, they wield chainsaws, butcher knives, they've got pins in their head, they're demons, they're whatever. These have no redeeming features. No, not at all. That's why these guys are the true thing of nightmares. Now, is that because in modern society, from the 60s onwards, we had the onslaught of serial killers? Real humans who have become monsters, who have done the most barbaric and nasty of things to fellow humans, and then become hugely, notorious, infamous. You could say that Jack the Ripper, who is the first serial killer, would have maybe influenced some of those earlier movies, but I don't, even though he did figure in a few movies as well, a few early Jack the Ripper style movies, I don't really think he influenced the likes of Dracula, the Literary Giants, Frankenstein's Monster, Bride of, the Wolfman. I don't think so. Got to clear my throat, folks. A lot better. So, in our modern segment, who do we got there? What do we got here? Norman Bates, transvestite, Oedipal figure. Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins, mother fixation, likes blades, likes the ladies as well, but can't help stabbing them to bits at the same time. Yeah, he's sympathetic as well. So let's get him out the way. He is, in the first movie, you do sympathise with him. And in the second movie, Psycho 2, you definitely sympathise with him because he's recovered and then someone else is setting him up and he becomes insane again because of someone else's actions. Then in Psycho 3, he's a complete bastard again. He has gone right over, arse over tit, psychologically speaking, into complete mania again. And Mother's in control. But he is a thing of nightmares, certainly. We've all stayed in motels or hotels that have been a bit creepy. A house on a hill. We've all been there. We've all done these things, and there are always creepy proprietors at these particular establishments and weird outlets in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, he's a viable option, but he kind of drops down the pegging because initially he's sympathetic. There is reasons why he acts the way he does, and you do feel sorry for him. He's charismatic and he's sympathetic. Who have we got next? And we're going to try and do this in major league chronological order. So what'll be next? Leatherface. I think he's here somewhere. That's Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Leatherface. Mixed up, abused kid. At the time of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, based on Ed Gein, who a real life serial killer and cannibal, yeah. So there's a real basis in real life Bogeyman nastiness. But Leatherface himself, already from a clan of complete despicable redneck bastards. Sorry, Zach, didn't mean to insult your cousins there. I'll pay for that one later. But, so can you blame him? He's already part of this. But yeah, you can, because they're all evil. They're horrible. They enjoy tormenting, humiliating, murdering, butchering their victims. He doesn't really offer a great deal of redeeming spiritual qualities, does he? Our Leatherface. We loves him. I know we love him, but he's still a complete bastard, and he is terrifying. Poor Kirk, when that steel door gets slammed open, and he's lump hammered to death, boosh, boosh, then dragged off. Bodies on meat hooks, stuck in the fridge, chainsawed victims. Oh God, the chainsaw dance in the sunset. Jesus Christ. You know? No, he is, without doubt, a bogeyman. He's big, he's lumbering, he's a brute, you can't reason with him. Unless in part 2 you really, really are very sexy, you've got gorgeous legs and a nice fit pair of chesticles, then you might just be able to appease him a little bit. Enough to delay him so you can get away. I don't know. Michael Myers. I'll tell you what, we're going to come back onto him. I mean, he is the bogeyman. He is known as the bogeyman. Where's the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, that was. But come on, we'll come back to him. Jason. Our mate Jason. Well, the best film in the entire Friday the 13th series is the first one, and Jason's not even doing the killings. It's Pamela Voorhees, it's his mum. It's his mommy doing a lot of things about mums. You know, mums that are figure in these movies a lot. People have problems with their mums, do they not? But it's her killing spree. The thing is, the twist ending where the mutated her son comes out of the lake, Crystal Lake, to haul down the last victim, the last girl. It's kind of, what the hell? That's as much as we love Jason and the ongoing saga, even though the films are increasingly shit as the series goes on, as you find in many of these long-running franchises. But where the hell did that come from? You know, a nice twist ending. Well, it was successful. Let's make a sequel. Yeah, well, but we've just beheaded his mother, the killer. So what are we going to do? Well, we'll have Jason now. He's going to be fucking 6.5 feet tall, of muscle, brawn, and he's going to just have machetes and other edged weapons, and he's going to decapitate, skewer, impale, and just completely destroy anybody within lumbering distance. So, and he does legitimately become a thing of nightmare. That would be the Invisible Man saying, "What about me? What about me?" There's always things popping off the walls and hitting the floor in this place. Methinks this house, Kilt Mansion, is becoming slightly unhinged. Just like its occupants. Cheers, y'all. So yeah, Jason, size of him, the fact you can't reason with him, he is a complete brute. Yeah, legitimately, he is a bogeyman. the stuff of nightmares, just crashing through doors, walls. He will just come after you. Doesn't even need to run. He will just lumber after you. But he is kind of stupid, and he's just an archetype of the killer. There's nothing to him. There's no depth. There's no character. There's nothing to him. Just give him a weapon and he will do what he does. He doesn't even need a weapon. He'll crush your head. He'll pick up your sleeping bag and smash you between trees. He'll do whatever he wants. But he's just the archetypal figure of nightmarish violence. And again, you could say that's another reflection of the modern age, where we fear the thug on the street, the home invader, because we don't know what they're going to do. And once they're here, they're pretty much in control. If they've beaten you over, then you're at their mercy. So Voorhees fulfills that side of things, that horrible, savage, lawless violence. So, yeah, we're going to put, Jason's going to be in there. Freddy Krueger, holy shit, Freddy Krueger. I'm sorry, I have leaped ahead here, but, you know, it doesn't matter. But Freddy Krueger, he is the thing of your nightmares. He exists in the nightmare realm. He's there, right there. He is savage, nasty. Even in life, before he became this hellish entity, he was a bloody child molester and killer. He was a paedophile. He had finger claws. He took his victims, his child victims, to his little factory place, his little foundry, his disused warehouse, and he would obviously torture them and abuse them and then murder them. But that is an absolute nightmare. Then he gets incinerated, flambéed, and comes back as this other entity to take out the kids, the parents that took him down. And he lives on. His legend becomes, he becomes a legend, and that gives him even greater sort of powers. There's little limericks and nursery rhymes said about him. So he's already part of, in that world, and that world in the cinema and the fictional world bleeds into ours, because he has become, bizarrely, a cultural icon. How can that happen? A fucking child molested, a paedophile becomes a fucking cultural icon. You've got little kids dressed up as him, with little finger gloves and claws, little fedoras on, like a Freddy masks. 1, 2, Freddy's coming. They're kids. Do they not understand what he? Oh, that is truly frightening. That a character so despicable can become so beloved by the very thing that he hunted and preyed upon. Well, let's just stop right there, because, you know, he is already the ultimate bogeyman, because he's won over, he's broke down that metal wall, he's broke down that barrier, he's broken through all the sort of psychotic and psychological walls that we erect around ourselves to try and protect ourselves morally and spiritually. He's broken through it all. He's just... And Wes Craven, of course, brilliantly with A New Nightmare, took that idea that this demonic entity could use the fictional version of Freddy and inhabit that and break through into the real world. That is genius. That is absolute genius. So, you know, I don't believe I'm talking about nightmarish stuff and bogeymen, and the sun, the midday sun, is now about to completely emblazon us with its sunny outbursts of joy and glee and hope for the world. We'll soon put pay to that. Zach, get the RPG and take that fucking sunburst now. He has got one. He knows how to use it. So yeah, Freddy Krueger, without a doubt, terrifying. His films are terrifying. His first movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, which I've gone on about a lot, like I've gone on about all these films a lot, that is genuine tour de force of pure and utter terror. Then you get decelerating levels of quality in all the films afterwards. And by the way, I've got more on Freddy coming later on today, after this video in fact. So he genuinely is a figure of fright, an icon of terror, a titan in the annals of complete arse-twitching fucking sheer fright. And he is the stuff of nightmares, literally. So he broke all the bounds, broke out of the mold, broke out of the cinema, and invaded our minds and our popular culture to such a degree that he's embedded there. So, yeah, Freddy is up there without a doubt. Now, what I did, I missed out the likes of Jaws, Bruce the Shark, but really, he's like with the Creature of Black Lagoon, he is just a shark that's doing what sharks do, albeit slightly bigger, slightly more exaggerated. And he gets killed in the first movie. Boom, smile you son of a whoosh. Yeah. And then you get other sharks in other Jaws movies. So it's just, oh, it's a great white shark, or it's a mako shark, or it's a tiger shark. It's a shark. And a shark is a shark is a shark. No matter what size it is, it's only doing what it does. It's not coming onto the land and haunting you, swimming up the street, living in your basement. It's not doing that. It's in the water. You go in the water, shark's in the water. Our shark. Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Yeah, you get the drift. So, no, Bruce ain't going in there. Alien and the Xenomorph. Yes, that's a nightmarish creature, beyond any shadow of a doubt. The Xenomorph is terrifying. The sequel, Aliens, yeah, only embedded, like, if one can wipe out a starship in the first movie, and then imagine an army of them, then imagine the Queen and all these colonies of, you know, eggs and that, like. So yeah, God, these things are a huge, huge threat to any other species. Yeah, so totally get that. The Xenomorph should be up there. Acid for blood, so you can't kill the bastard. A mouth within a mouth, it will impregnate a man. It'll impregnate a woman as well. But in the first movie, we know it actually tries to rape, or indeed does rape, Lambert. That is a known thing. So you've even got, it's sexual violence, plus it will impregnate or cocoon somebody to try to make them into a pseudo egg. Oh my God. So it's body morphing and changing your shape to fit its life cycle, and it will claw out your brain, it'll spew acid on you. Yeah, that is without doubt a Bogeyman. Jesus, there ain't no coming back from that one. That is an otherworldly thing of pure and utter dread and fear. There's no reasoning with it. You just can't. It's an alien entity. It doesn't think like we do. Subsequent movies would mess things around a hell of a lot, but that doesn't change the fundamental terror, the absolute primitive, primordial DNA of the Bogeyman, the monster. It lives in the shadows, it cannot be reasoned with, it cannot be bargained with, and the Xenomorph will come after you and take you down, and it uses cunning as well. So Xeno is in there. What else have we got? Oh, we got Pinhead. Pinhead. From Hellraiser, Hellbound, and, oh God, another slew of really inferior follow-ons. Clive Barker's creation. Angels to some, demons to others. These are the Cenobites. Sadomasochists from beyond the grave, and Pinhead is their leader. And his rhetoric, his blasphemous pseudo-gothic sermonizing, his eloquence, the beauty of his speech, but also the sort of reluctance to, look, we're going to tear you apart. We've done this many times. But you do see him get angry when he thinks someone's escaped him and his little team of mutilated cohorts. He does get aggrieved by that sort of thing. So, like, you see the anger he has then. You know, crosses again, child, and your suffering will be legendary even in hell. He is demonic. But is he really a Bogeyman? Is he? Is he? I don't know. He is terrifying, but as we learn in Hellraiser 2, Hellbound, you find out the backstory behind him, and then again in like Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, you find out more. In fact, for all the movies, you find out a little bit more about it, and that actually devalues him a lot. Whereas you could find out things about, say, Norman Bates or Frankenstein's monster, or a lot of these characters who have a tragic background, But Pinhead, I don't think it works so much with Pinhead. I don't think you sympathise with him at all. He's a great character, without a doubt. He is nightmarish. But I think any attempt to try to humanise him fails. And he also is removed from us because you've got to be a certain person, a certain type of person, a bit of a weird bastard to begin with, to ever encounter him. Unless you're unfortunate to know someone who's like that, and the lament configuration. But basically, the people he encounters are people that want what he delivers, or they just want, ooh, oh, I've solved it. Oh shit, didn't know to do that. But he's not coming after everybody. No, he kind of negates himself and takes him off the list of our top bogeymen because he has an agenda and he won't deviate from that. He has a job to do. He enjoys it, but it still is a job at the end of the day. So Pinhead, loving your work, but no, you ain't the bogeyman for me. You have numerous other like slashes, the whole urban legend thing, Ghostface from Scream, but then again, Wes Craven again breaking that fourth wall and doing going too far with it, I thought. And Ghostface, you know, Edvard Munch mask and all that, it's never the same person anyway, doing all the killings. But I will say that the Ghostface persona, the killer in the robes and the Scream mask, does become its own thing. When you're watching it, it is nightmarish. And it's kind of clever in the fact that you know that because they're always kids or just anyone in that mask who are doing these things, that anyone in the real world can just put that mask on and a hood and get a knife, come after you, and you're like, but take you down. So, and you would never know the reasons why. So that's kind of clever in many ways. So Ghostface, even though it's never the same person, never the same killer, it's passed on. That in itself is scary because anyone could put on a Freddy Krueger mask and put the claws and the glove claw on and go and hurt somebody, but it's not Freddy Krueger. But the whole thing about Ghostface and the Scream killers is that they are not a monster. They are people with a sick agenda who don this, and then it becomes its own thing. Not someone trying to become one of these guys. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you don't, but it's hard to try and put it across. But Ghostface does become its own passed on entity. Once you don that costume, you are Ghostface, you are the killer, and you are scary. But where the Scream movies come undone is that Scooby-Doo element to it, the unmasking and kicking the killer in the nuts and, you know, and fighting back. And they're revealed to be quite surprisingly, well, not a surprise when you discover who's behind the mask, that they're kind of weak and ineffectual in actual combat, face-to-face, close-quarter situation. Don't give in to them and you can kick the shit out of them. So that brings it down again, you know. So they are beatable. That's the thing. That's the element I'm coming to. You can take them down. Our main guys, you can't reason with, you can't bargain with, and you can't beat them. They're strong, they're resilient, and they will not stop. They don't have a heart that you can appeal to. Anyway, who else we got after that then? Candyman. Candyman's a tragic figure. And as much as I love the first Candyman, I've not liked the sequels. And this remake, which is coming through, reboot, when are we ever going to see that? He is a great character, but he's not the Bogeyman, even though he is, you know, he's legend, he is rumour. It is a blessed condition, believe me, to be whispered about. You know, it's clever, Clive Barker again. It's a very clever conceit, but I have to be honest, you know, I'm not afraid of him. You know, to invoke him, you've got to say his name 5 times in the mirror. Well, don't do that then. Ta-da! You're okay. Yeah, you know. He is a terrifying figure, but he's also one that you sympathise with. You know his backstory. Then, so again, like the vintage creature features from Universal, there is a reason. He's a tortured, persecuted individual, and his spirit now craves revenge, craves love. He wants Helen. Anyway, so no, I'm not putting Candyman in there. Victor Crowley from the Hatchet movies, I actually find him fucking terrifying, genuinely, because I've always said, like even the Rob Zombies, Halloween, Michael Myers, big fucking brute that you can't stop, you can't fight him. I've done lots of martial arts. I've never fought away from a bladed weapon, never, trust me. And I can take anything down, but that Tyler Mane with a mask and a butcher knife coming at me in a boiler suit, smashing down the door and coming up and not stopping, coming up the stairs. No, I'm going straight through the skylight with literally a firework up my ass, and I'm going into orbit to get away from him. So, So I do find him and Victor Crowley in all his enormous prosthetics, but played by a variety of stuntmen, and the things he does to his victims, and the evident glee, you can't bargain with him either. Now, I'll be honest, I've forgotten what his backstory is, but is he sympathetic? I don't think he's sympathetic at all. Is he? Is he? Someone let me know. But anyway, he's not going in the top list. He's not our top titans of terror. He is a frightening monster, but they are literally just a showpiece for grisly special effects, even in the modern age, and they're great on that level, and I adore them. But no, he's not. He doesn't go beyond that. He's frightening when the film is on, but I don't think he haunts your dreams afterwards. I just don't think so. Who else have we got? Chucky. Fuck off. Fuck off. Annabelle from the Conjuring movies. Fuck off. And take that nun with you. But yeah, demonic toys and stuff. Yeah. That's the film itself. Demonic toys. But yeah, it possessed, dolls and figures and stuff. Yeah, they can be terrifying, but I'm not putting them down. I'm not. Max Cady. Whether it's Robert Mitchum playing him in the original Cape Fear or Rob De Niro in Scorsese's marvellously Grand Guignol fully OTT remake, both of which are great movies for different reasons, but Max Cady in both is absolutely, he's a human being who has no redeeming qualities. Yes, he's aggrieved, but he was committing nasty rape and assault already. He was already a bastard, but he feels aggrieved that the law was broken to put him behind bars, and then he goes out and persecutes the lawyer's family and the lawyer himself. No, there's no redeeming Max Cady at all. And he has got cunning, he has got guile, he can get into the family, he can get inside their minds. In both versions, he's exceptionally clever, and he is savage and cunning and a complete grade A bastard. Max Cady, also very realistic, because there are people like that. He's not a monster, he's not super strong. Okay, he does survive a beating with baseball bats and then beats them up, but he's been inside and he's worked out. De Niro worked out a hell of a lot. Mitchum's version is more, he's savage, he's ruthless, but he's more terrifying for the kids as well, and he's more terrifying because he's going after the kids of the lawyer's family, and then you've got to fight to stop him getting the kids. He's pushing all the buttons. It's psychological, but with violence as well. So Max Cady is, he's up there without a doubt. But I'm afraid we're coming to it, and I can't deny it. He's there. That's Halloween 2 mask, which is my favourite. I've said before, mate, I've got all the masks, but that's my favourite mask. That's my favourite look for Michael Myers. Michael Myers, he's there as well. He's known as the Bogeyman. He is the Bogeyman. He's a kid that kills his sister. We never find out why. I've said about the novelisation, and he's the spirit of a evil druid villager who kills the woman he loves and her betrothed on their wedding day, and then the villagers turn on him and rip him to shreds, and his spirit is cursed to wander the earth forevermore, recommitting that crime. So he kills his sister, and then the child gets incarcerated with Dr. Sam Loomis. And who wouldn't love to be incarcerated with Dr. Sam Loomis? I'd love to sit and chat with him all day long. He'd have a field day with me. Jeez, better bring some bottles of whiskey though. But the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Loomis knows this is not a man. Who taught him to drive a car? How can he withstand bullets all the time? Hit, stabbed, knitting needles in the neck, coat hangers in the eye, stabbed with his own knife in the guts, falling off a balcony, shot again and again and again. He's the bogeyman. There is no getting around it. Michael Myers is the ultimate. It was kind of obvious I was going to do this because I was wearing this fucking t-shirt, but I've said it many, many times. And again, that lore of, decreasing returns with all the sequels. Yeah, I know. But the persona, the character, the epic quality, the mythic stature of Michael Myers lives even beyond the movies. He lives in the shadows. He cannot be stopped. He has cunning. He plays tricks. He is evil incarnate, and you can't stop him. Plus, whether you take the sister angle out of it, take the entire Strode family connections out, doesn't matter. He's just going to go on a rampage and kill anybody. He'll choose a particular road, kill everybody on that road, then he'll sit off for a bit, maybe another year. The next Halloween he's going to come out again, do it all over again. He becomes a mythical creature. He becomes an entity of pure evil. There's no bargaining with him. You can't sit him down with another psychiatrist and trying to get the root of all his problems, whether it's a fucking white horse and his mother in a billowing gothic gown. No. Rob Zombie style. None of that. He is a figure of nightmare. He lives beyond the movies. He lives outside of his own universe. He inhabits your brain, your psyche, your primal fears. He is the bogeyman, the quintessential bogeyman. There is no stopping him. But at the end of the day, what is the biggest bogeyman of all time? Because the best films don't show you what they do. They don't show you everything. They leave it to your imagination. And what could be worse than your own imagination? So, folks, at the end of the day, who is the most nightmarish, the most uncontrollable, the most frightening bogeyman of all? You are. It's your own imagination that conjures up all the worst things. The movies, even the more explicit ones, only show you so much. But those figures of fear live beyond it, because they live in here. So you add to their mythos. You add to their power, their grandeur. You all fuel your own nightmares. Think about that, folks. As you put your head on the pillow tonight, and you think of Kilt-Man. Anyway, folks, I have been and always shall be Kilt-Man. Today, I'm wearing the Bruce, Robert the Bruce tartan. Please, keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. Be careful out there. Be happy, be healthy. Have fun. If whatever you're doing isn't fun, stop doing it right away and do something that is fun. Life's much more enjoyable that way. And I'm going to see you all later. And the final word has got to go to my good groundsman, Zachariah.
So come on in, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who is the scariest bogeyman of all? Yeah, it's me, motherfucker.